Hey, what's up, everybody? This is an open discussion with C3 Films. My name is Chris, and this is.
Cheryl.
And today we're going to be talking about the Netflix show Wednesday. So, if you haven't seen it, it is based on the Addams family, and we are going to be talking about spoiler stuff for the first two episodes. So, if you haven't seen those episodes yet, now's a good time to click away, and then you can come back after you've seen them and see what we had to say about it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So, Cheryl, for me, the Adams family was very special because obviously, if you guys know me in like IRL, that's like my name, and so my mom would always like make jokes about like the Adams family and us and everything else like that, and even had a on our answering machine she would say, hey, you've reached the Adams family, blah blah blah, and then at the end she would say, thing, take a message. And so like I grew up watching like I think there was a cartoon at one point, and then the live action Adams Family, and like loving all these characters, Gomez, Morticia. But Wednesday, I really was fond of. I actually think Wednesday might have been my first crush as a child because that was the reason I knew who Christina Ricci was. So, and obviously, I think a lot of people know Christina Ricci because of her playing Wednesday Adams back in the day. But as a child who did not know actors' names, that was what stuck out to me. She stuck out to me, and so I remember Christina Ricci ever since being a child because of Wednesday and Adams Family, and because for whatever reason Wednesday Adams was like probably like my earliest crush as a small child. So I love the Adams Family, and when I found out that we were going to be talking about Wednesday, I legitimately was excited. And so I was very happy to sit down and watch the episodes that we watched so far. I started watching it into the next episode, episode three, and stuff. But I was even more pleasantly surprised for two things. One, Jenna Ortega is doing a very good job as Wednesday Adams. And two, they brought Christina Ricci back to be in this. Oh, and I guess three and four. Three, Tim Burton has a hand in this, which I didn't know. And four, Danny Elfman is doing the music for it. Like, what? So, anyways, I just had to get that out of my get that out real quick, and we can go into more specifics later. But like, tell me a little bit about your Adams Family journey. I'm sure you have one as well.
I mean, I watched the Christina Ricci um, uh, movie, her portrayal of Wednesday, and that was my first experience of it. And it's such a classic because those movies are so good. They're so rewatchable. I'm sure I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it. Like I can't quite remember it too much because it's been a very long time since I've seen it. But Wednesday is 100% one of the most memorable characters from the Addams family. Um, like just watching the show makes me want to go back and watch the original Addams family movies.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely what stuck out to me the most when going into this new series is the all star everything. Like you mentioned,
Yeah.
Tim Burton, Danny Elfman. You have Catherine Zeta Jones, who's perfect
As
for
Morticia.
Morticia.
Yeah.
Even though they're not really in it, the parents aren't really in it too much because, it's about Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But the casting is so good, and Christina Ricci does a great job as well. She's such a great actress that I'm surprised that she wasn't in a lot more things. Maybe she, took a break growing up. I'm not sure, but I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see her in more things.
Yeah, absolutely. She's amazing, and so far she's great in this. I really believe that there's no way Christina Ricci's not the main villain at the end of this at the end of this show. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see when we get to the end. But yeah, another great casting. Gwendolyn Christie is in this. We were just talking about Game of Thrones a little while ago, and yeah, she's. It's pretty interesting because the way, like we said, this is very much about Wednesday Adams, but some family members appear. I'm sure that we're eventually going to see. I think it's Fester. I'm forgetting his name right now,
Uncle
but
Fester. I think they
Uncle
meant.
Fester. Yeah,
I think she doesn't mention him, but I think she's talking about him because
yeah.
she
She says my
mentions her
uncle.
uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be. So we're gonna see him, and he was another classic from the originals. I mean, they're all really classic characters, but he was played by Christopher Lloyd in the past, and we all know Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future and stuff. So that was another great casting choice. I'll be curious to see who they get to play Uncle Fester in this. But the way that they're handling this right now, so the way it starts, we have Wednesday Adams in a regular school with her brother Pugsley, and he's being bullied. And in Wednesday fashion, I don't know where she got piranhas from when she wasn't planning on like having to exact revenge, but somehow she gets piranhas in the same day that her brother is getting bullied, and drops them into a pool, and it's great. It's a great opening scene, and it puts us into the point where she is being put into a school that is for what they call outcasts, but really it's a school for monsters. And at the end of the day, it has this very much Harry Potter school of witchcraft and wizardry, except it's like occult, like werewolves, occultic like creatures and vampires or something like that. So it's a interesting little setup. It gets Wednesday in a situation where she's in a class and an environment with other supernatural beings or strange beings for her to play off of. And it's amazing how fun that can end up being. Because I feel like when we've seen the Adams family for the most part in the past, they're mainly the kookiest ones. They're the strangest ones in a room full of normal people. But now we have them being strange, but in a situation where they aren't the strangest people in the room.
I mean, she's definitely different. She does stand out, but I think I was not really sure if the Adams family was supernatural, and they make it very clear that they are in this show.
Yeah,
So
but
it
in the
kind of
original, it
like,
wasn't that clear, right? Yeah, you're right.
yeah. I mean, there was Thing,
Yeah.
so but that's like one
Family.
character.
Well, yeah, because also in the
So
originals, every time they would like get tortured or about to do something that would kill them, it would always stop and then they wouldn't do it. So you're just like, would they actually die or not?
yeah,
So,
exactly. So there was always that like kind of mystery where like, wait, are they normal people and they're just weird and different. Like Wednesday, she's like the perfect example. Like, she's just a normal girl and stuff, but now in this show, they
yeah.
give her visions. And that's something that they never really did before in the past. So now they're giving her powers, and initially I was like, well, if she's going to a monster school, what is her power? And it's visions. And I thought that was interesting choice. It kind of reminded me of like Dead Zone, the Stephen
Oh,
King
oh, we're throwing it back to
show.
Dead Zone.
A
Yo, that's the
little
reference.
bit.
That's good. That's good. I like it.
But it is a little bit like that because Gwendolyn Christie's character mentioned the visions and how Morticia had that power, and it kind of it did more harm than good in that sense. And so it kind of reminded me of like especially where she's seeing things of that's related to death, and that's very Dead Zone like. And anytime you get a vision like that, a partial vision, you're getting not the whole story, and so that can
Right.
lead to some other mischief. So it kind of seems like it kind of gave me the sense like, oh, that's kind of what the show is gonna be like. She's gonna have visions every episode, and it's gonna go take her down this rabbit hole, and she's gonna try to fix something and like be the hero. Because they also established that despite the way Wednesday is, she's still good at heart, and she wants to protect people that need protecting and like do the right thing. And so I could very much see this kind of be episodic in that way. Although there is a bigger arch there somewhere. Just haven't watched enough to figure out what that quite is yet.
Yeah, there's an overarching mystery that's happening in the town that they're living in. And there's like a creature, there's killings, and they're trying to figure out what that creature is. And so there's a mystery based around that. There's also in the first, I think this has happened in the first episode, maybe it's the second episode, where one of the kids actually is killed by that creature, but the kid also is trying to kill Wednesday because of some prophecy that his mother was like a part of. So there's something else going on there, which is pretty, which has intrigue and mystery, but yeah, like when it comes to the visions, that was something that caught me off guard too. But I think that like I was willing to roll with it, even though a lot of times I'd be like, "What is this?" and I'd get ready to get angry. But it was interwoven pretty neatly in this universe and this version of like these characters. So I was like, okay, I can get by with this. And the thing that really gets me about this show, which is what I'm really enjoying, is the writing, the dialogue. Because if it's anything about the Adams family, it's so much about the dialogue. Because the whole dialogue about how they speak with each other and how they speak in general is based around opposites of things that we would normally wouldn't like that they love. If it's raining, oh, we think it's a bad day. They say, oh, it's such a wonderful day outside. They say it's like, oh, you have a cold heart, and they say, oh, what a compliment. Like, so it's all in thinking about how you can kind of have these kind of reverse plays on like everyday situations or everyday conversations, but even word plays like Wednesday has this moment when Christina Ricci's character comes in to talk to her, and her roommate, and Wednesday tells her that my roommate has been strangling me, or no, she's been suffocating me with kindness. I intend to do the same to her in her sleep, and it's just like okay. So there's moments like that that happen over and over again, and it's just funny, and you can feel Danny Elfman and Tim Burton all over this, like in the design of like the architecture for the buildings, the obviously the music. Like it's a very, if you've seen Tim Burton stuff before, you know it when you see it, and this is definitely a Tim Burton property, and like it's more of the stuff that he's always been good at. And I guess in some cases you could say, well, that could get kind of old, but I think that for this, it's working for me, and I'm finding myself like enjoying it a lot. Specifically, like I'm surprised at how funny the dialogue can be at times.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think that it was gonna be very good, and when they introduced the visions, I was like, oh great, here we
Here
are.
we
We're
go.
gonna it's gonna turn out badly, but it's actually, so far so good. I know we only watched 2 episodes, but I
Hmm.
think they're doing right by the characters, even though they're putting a twist on it. They still are, keeping them very, very close to how their characters are. So they're represented well. They're just kind of in a different sort of setting and universe, I guess you could say. Because now we're in a supernatural setting, and that's something that wasn't established before. It was just kind of, a mystery, like is it or is it not? And
Hmm.
now we're getting it clearly defined, but the characters are still the same, and we have um, these. It's about Wednesday. It's not about the family,
Hmm.
um, and and so I guess that's the other thing that kind of made me think that it wasn't going to be good, because it's not about the family ensemble anymore, and that's also what made the Adams family so great, is because it's about the family. But now it's only about Wednesday, and she was like the most dreary of them all.
Yeah, she was.
So, so it was like, how is this show gonna be any good? But they're doing such a great job with it so far. I'm just, kind of impressed with what they're doing, and surprisingly liking it a lot. And I 100% agree with you with the dialogue. There's some really good witty dialogue, and I mean, I'm just having a good time with it.
Yeah, like I watched it and was literally laughing out loud at certain exchanges between characters. There's such clever plays on words, and a lot, almost everything that comes out of Wednesday Adams' mouth is just a treat, and I can't help but smile when I see this girl like speaking on screen. And the actress playing her, Jenna Ortega, I recall seeing her in You, another Netflix property, and where she was like a young child that was coming from a kind of broken home, and like one of the main characters kind of develops a relationship with her to try to help her out and everything else like that. And so when I saw her that she was going to be playing Wednesday, I didn't really have any feeling one way or the other. I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I like that actress. And but seeing what she's able to do, like I also don't feel like she's copying Christina Ricci in any kind of way. Like Wednesday, I the best way I can describe it is just that it just feels like Wednesday. It's like if I was watching Christina Ricci do this, I would say, yeah, that's Wednesday. And when I watch Jenna Ortega, I don't say, oh, she's just trying to copy Christina Ricci. I'm just like, yeah, that's still Wednesday. So I think it's and maybe the character's not that hard to portray since she's basically just dry and never smiles, but I still think that like kind of what you had touched on a little bit earlier is that she's bringing a kind of vulnerability to the role as well, because it's not all just dry. We see that she does care about people. There is a vulnerability there, one that she doesn't want to show, and I like it. I think that she's doing a very, very good job as Wednesday Addams, and like she's the best part of the show, which is great because she's the lead character. But anytime she's on screen, I'm tuned in. The other characters, it's a hit or miss.
I mean, it's interesting because like she's going to therapy. She's kind of trying to figure herself out too in this show, and you know, it's this weird twist on like adolescence. It's a high school show essentially, but it's like a huge twist on it, and she's just trying to figure out like who she is and what her personality is. And it's so funny because it's such a, you know, like you said, the Addams Family is like the opposite of what you would expect. And she's like, I just want to like not be here. Yeah. I just don't want to exist.
There's this moment when her roommate, who is a werewolf, is talking about how she needs to like develop her lycanthropy sooner, because all she can do is her nails, and if she doesn't do it, then she's gonna die alone. And Wednesday looks at her and is just like, I don't understand what the problem is. And it's moments like that where you're just like, they're sincere like character moments that in any other situation someone would be like, oh, it's gonna be okay. But Wednesday's actually like, what you're describing sounds amazing. Why are you crying? So, yes, it's absolutely great in that way, in that regard. The other thing about it is, touching on these other characters, we talked about Morticia, Catherine Zeta-Jones is great. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like Luis Guzman as Gomez, because I have a very specific image of Gomez in my mind, and Luis Guzman does not fit that image. So it's not based, like, we haven't seen him. It's not really based on acting or anything. It's just based off of like my history with that character. So like as we see more of him, he could surprise me. But like Catherine Zeta-Jones, I looked at her and said, yeah, that's Morticia. When I saw Luis Guzman, I was like, I'm not so sure about this pick though. But yeah, and we'll see what happens.
I get what you mean though, because at first I kind of felt like that too. Like I like him as Guzman, but Gomez.
You like Luis Guzman as Gomez?
Yes, I do. But then I get what you mean, because from the original, or not, I don't think it's the original, but our time,
Gomez. Yeah.
our Gomez is a different kind of character, and to me, I think he was kind of more of like the gentleman, the the
very suave and debonair.
Exactly, like he's very charming and handsome, even though he's dark. He's probably the most normal of every family member in the Addams family. Like if you had to pick one normal guy, it would be him. He would be that person, and I don't really get that vibe from Guzman. It's It's Monday, not Wednesday. Sorry.
Right? And these videos go up on like a Tuesday,
I
so
know.
every day but Wednesday. Um, but yeah, and like the other characters, like so there's this kind of strange love triangle that they're trying to do with these other two like characters. One being a normal character, the other one he's he's an outcast. I don't remember. Oh, he can like make drawings come to life or something. I don't know if you've seen that actually in the first two episodes, but
Yeah, he
yeah.
does the spider.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I was actually gonna bring that up too. Um, Basically, they gave her two love interests, and I'm like, guys, this is
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
I know.
She's not gonna pick either of them. And if she does, it's gonna be if she does pick a guy, it's gonna be weird.
Right. I had the same thought. And so once like and that was like one of the few moments where I was just like, okay, I really don't know how I feel about this because this feels like this goes against everything I know about Wednesday Adams. Um, but you know what? I was like, I'll ride with it and I'll make a judgment on it by the end and we'll see where they take it. But yes, I felt myself being resistant to giving her not one but two different love interests and suggesting that maybe she could express an interest herself. At the point that we've seen so far, she doesn't. But we've seen so many of these like types of teenage shows, we know where they go in the end. So and I don't think Wednesday should go in that direction, but we've only seen two episodes, so maybe it won't. Like Tim Burton knows this character well too, I think. So we'll see. But yeah, that was I did want to bring that up because that was one other aspect of the show that did give me pause, even though mainly everything else I enjoy.
It is a high school show after all.
Mhm.
You do have
Yes.
that like the queen bee conflict. So yeah, throw in a love triangle.
Right. So yeah, but
She's gonna
overall, I
end up
think
with the beekeeper.
yes, yeah, the beekeeper is going to be the real one to win in the end. So yeah, like I think that so far I'm having a good time. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the actors. I'm intrigued in the overall mystery. I like the occultic nature of the show. I love the humor. It is legitimately funny and unlike the original Adams Family, and you guys can correct me if I'm misremembering, but it's pretty bloody too. It can get pretty like people actually die and get hurt in this, and you see blood on screen.
Yeah. I feel like the movies that we grew up with were not that violent.
Mm-mm.
Like
No.
they were for kid like it was a movie made for kids and like it was a family movie and this doesn't seem like that. It seems a little bit more
A teenage to
adult.
adult.
Yeah, even though it's like about high schoolers, it doesn't feel like it's for that age group. I think it's for us, but maybe for a little bit younger because it's also very high schooly.
It's very high schooly.
So I don't really know who the target audience is.
Yeah. The 60 show I don't think was violent. Okay, so yeah, so this like I think yeah, this might be the first and we can look back and see later, but this might be like a more mature take on the Adams Family, which I'm okay with. And maybe Tim Burton's thinking to himself, "Hey, I've already dabbled in these worlds where we don't get that violence. So, this is one where like, why not? It's a new age." So we'll see where it goes. It kind of reminds me of kind of like how I never actually saw the show, but I heard a lot about it. The Sabrina show that they did on Netflix. It kind of reminds me of kind of like that when we were watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's a very different Sabrina the Teenage Witch than what they did on the Netflix show. And I can't remember if that was based on a comic book and they were trying to be more true. I can't remember all of that, but I just know that they took a much more mature approach to it. And so that's kind of what they feel like they're doing with the Addams Family. It still very much does feel like Wednesday. It still very much does feel like the Addams Family, but it definitely has more of a dark twist. We see people's like limbs like we don't see them get ripped off, but we see the aftermath of their limbs getting ripped off. We see like a lot of bloody situations, so it's definitely a more violent take on the Addams Family lore, but I think it just is surprising, but I don't think that it's necessarily bad.
Yeah, it's easy enough to swallow, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, hello, good morning, Red. Welcome in. But yeah, so all in all, I think I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to being able to see more of it and see where this all goes. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we end recording our YouTube segment?
Yes, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you say one day decide to have kids and you have a daughter, will you name her Wednesday?
I would be very tempted to do that, but I guess it depends on if my partner would be all right with that.
Say they are.
Then yes, we have to bring our own Wednesday Adams in the world, and as a baby, that little girl will always be in black, just because,
Oh
just
my
because we
gosh,
have to.
love it, love it, love it, love it. I hope I see this happen one day.
I mean, why are you gonna have kids if you're not gonna have fun with them?
I'm gonna,
So
I gotta set you up with someone. Make
she's
this
like,
happen.
you're like, I want this reality, and then you got to flip the coin on the 50-50 on whether not the child's a boy or a girl. And if it's a boy, then it's like you got to keep trying. You're not done until you have a girl.
Another.
Another. Oh goodness. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us for this YouTube segment. If you guys want to check us out on Twitch, we talk about this and more on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/C3Films. Be great to see you guys over there. But what do you guys think of Wednesday? Have you seen the original Addams Family? Any of them? The one in the 60s, apparently that I didn't know about and didn't see. Have you seen the cartoon? Have you seen the one with Christina Ricci? Did you enjoy those? Are you enjoying this just as much, or do you like the originals better? Whatever you thought about them, comment below. Let us know. And while you're down there, if you give us a like, share, and subscribe. Even if you don't, though, I have been Chris, and this has been
Cheryl, and we'll see you next time.